What's up, Comic Connection family? Let's talk The Absorbing Man. The Absorbing Man's real name is Karl Crusher Krill, and he was a low-level criminal before his life was forever changed by Loki. You see, Loki was seeking an ally that he could use against Thor, so he imbued Crusher Krill, who was an ordinary prisoner at the time, with his absorbing powers, which is the power of absorption. Let me explain. You see, anything that the Absorbing Man's hands or his ball and chain touches, he is able to absorb the physical properties of said object. And when I say anything, that's exactly what I mean. Metal, fire, water, ice, even the Uru metal from Thor's hammer. So once Loki gave him these powers, he broke out of prison and sought out Thor. They began to have a battle, but Karl overplayed his hand when he tried to absorb too much power from the earth itself. It was too much for his body, and this led to him exploding. But this was definitely not enough to be able to keep him down, because thanks to his new powers, Loki was able to magically reconstruct his body. Now, over many issues, the Absorbing Man would continue to have battles against Thor, Hulk, the Avengers, and even Spider-Man. And his life would take many twists and turns along the comic book issues. Like during the very first Secret War stage by the Beyonder, he would meet his wife Titania. And in Civil War, when we thought that he was killed by the Sentry, only to return to be depowered by Norman Osborn. But during the Fear Itself storyline, he was repowered, and he was also given the title as the Breaker of Wills. After this storyline concluded, he was captured and incarcerated by the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before he ended up in a space prison with the Inhuman leader Black Bolt. In this storyline, he was once again presumed dead, where he was thought to have sacrificed himself to help the other inmates escape. But however, this was actually false, because he escaped the prison by storing his essence inside of his ball and chain, where he later reconstructed his entire body back on Earth. Back on Earth, he joined Gamma Flight in an effort to find and stop the Incredible Hulk. But Krill later rejected the orders to be able to take down our friendly neighborhood Jolly Green Giant, and he ended up joining forces with the Incredible Hulk. From that moment on, he's always tried to stay on the heroic path. The Absorbing Man has always been one of Marvel's most powerful heroes / villains that not a lot of people talk about. But even though he is very powerful, the Absorbing Man does have his fair share of weaknesses. One of which we discussed is that his body does have a limit, and it can be overloaded depending on what source of energy he tries to gather from. And even though he can absorb anything, including magic-based metals and power sources, if he doesn't quite understand the properties of what he's absorbing, this can get him into trouble. Like in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, when he absorbed the Uru metal from Thor's hammer, not knowing that the God of Thunder can control that metal with his mind. Another big weakness that he has is his human form, because while in a magical state, he can reconstitute his body if it is broken or shattered, but whilst in his human state, he can be injured like an ordinary man. Now, the Absorbing Man made his first appearance in Marvel in Journeys into Mystery number 114 in March of 1965. He has made a ton of appearances throughout Marvel on the small screen for years, and I personally think it's a shame that the MCU hasn't utilized him in a newer movie yet. Because yes, he was in the OG Incredible Hulk movie, but seeing his powers now on the big screen would be absolutely awesome. And I would really love to see that scene between him and Thor from Earth's Mightiest Heroes brought to life. And you guys, let me know in the comment section, what actor do you think will be able to portray him the best in a newer MCU movie? But look guys, once again, it's about that time I gotta get up out of here, and if you stuck with me this long, you already know what I'm gonna do. Thank you so much, but don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell up top so you get notified of the latest and greatest videos. Until next time, my fellow Avengers, peace.